What's up guys, Eli here back for another cassette collection video where, as usual, I just grab 10 cassettes out of my kind of loosely alphabetized collection and show them and maybe talk about them for a minute. So yeah, got 10 tapes here and let's get started. We're going to start off with one of my favorite bands, favorite black metal bands to ever come from the US. And oddly enough, they come from down south. I think they come from Georgia, or was it Alabama? Sorry, I can't remember exactly. But we're talking about Bloodstained Dusk. This is their second full-length album. They formed in '98, but this is their 2004 Continuance of Evil, it's called. I think this is their best work. It's definitely my favorite album from them, although all their stuff is actually really, really good. So the album came out in 2004. This is the 2006 cassette version. Came out on Propaganda Records. So Bloodstained Dusk started out as a very Emperor-sounding black metal band. Their first album sounds almost note for note just like the debut Emperor album. They actually, kind of after that, they sort of started to go for their own sound as they would grow as a band. This is a very, very inspired sort of symphonic black metal album. And I say inspired, it's got really long songs. It just seemed like they were like, all right, you know, now that we kind of know what we're doing, we're just going to go for the throat. And they really did. I think they're a fantastic band. I wish they had more stuff. They would actually put out a cool album after this that I have on CD that had Pest on vocals. Pest from Carcharoth. How they got him to join their band for a little while, I'm not sure, but I don't see a lot of people talk about Bloodstained Dusk. Check them out, man. If you like symphonic black metal, I think you'd really like Continuance of Evil. I think it's just a fantastic album. Then we have the sixth full-length album, came out in 1979. We're talking about Blue Oyster Cult, Mirrors. Now, Mirrors is considered by a lot of the hardcore BOC fans to be kind of a middle-of-the-road album for the band. I would totally agree with that. It's good. I don't think it's great. They just put out 5 albums in like the last 6 or 7 years, so I think they were maybe a little bit burnt out, maybe just a little bit tired. That's what I get from this album. It's good. It's really good, actually. I certainly don't mind listening to it from time to time, but it's just, in my opinion, not quite as good as most of the albums that came before it. But still, it's still a worthy addition to the BOC catalog, and I do like playing it from time to time. Then we have the 2020 debut album from technical death metal band Burning Palace. Now, Burning Palace are from California. They're actually from the same town I was born in, of Santa Rosa. So this came out on Transylvanian Recordings, which the label owner was kind enough to send this to me. I really, really appreciated that. I really loved the stuff he sent me. I've been meaning to place an order with them, actually. So Burning Palace, anyways. This is their debut, like I said, the only thing to date that they've put out. This is technical death metal, but it's technical death metal that a kind of an old school death metal type fan could get behind. This isn't like your modern, 2010-ish tech death, wanky shit that's just all over the place. I mean, sure, it does have some wank on here. These guys are fantastic musicians. It's definitely a technical death metal album, but like I said, if you're just a fan of just plain old death metal, I think you could probably get behind this. If you're into say a band like Pestilence, if you like their whole catalog, I think you could probably get behind Burning Palace. Really curious to see what they do next. Then we have the debut EP from 2020, same year, from Pennsylvania's Caged. Doom death band, Stricken by Continuance on this really cool purple cassette. Transylvanian tapes again. A little bit more of a simple J card on this one. Oops. Caged are cool, man. I'm a big fan of Doom Death, and I actually played this quite a bit in 2020. It's definitely Doom Death, but it doesn't. They don't really have a sound that I can nail down and compare to anyone else. They kind of are doing their own thing. Maybe a little bit of sludge in there, but it's definitely firmly rooted in the Doom Death. If you like a little bit of sludge in your Doom Death, and maybe just a little bit of experimentation, but definitely a unique sound, definitely look into Caged. Next, I have a couple albums from this band that I will admit I'm not a huge fan of. I think it's a really good band, and from time to time I'll throw it on, but it's everything I've heard from them is for me is hit or miss. They'll have some songs that I really dig, and then some that I just want to skip. So we're talking about England's Caina. Now this is their second demo from 2006. The band formed in 2004. This came out on Drakkar Productions, limited to, I'm not sure, it's kind of black J card in there. So Caina would kind of be known as, a lot of people would call them post-black metal. I would kind of agree with that. And if you're going to consider them post-black metal, they were one of the earlier bands to do it. Think about Caina as when I'm listening, especially these two demos I have, it'll be like this really raw, evil, nasty black metal, but then they'll come in with a song that's like clean vocals and stuff like that, and it'll just kind of it's a speed bump I usually almost can't get over. I think they did the nasty raw black metal really well. I'm not so much into the post clean vocal type stuff, but if you like black metal that is a bit of a mixed bag, you probably dig Caina. If you like Agalloch and Wolves in the Throne Room and stuff like that. Not that Caina really sound that much like those bands, but if you like stuff like that, I think you could probably get into them. Then I have their third demo from the same year, 2006, The King Beneath. Sorry if I'm not saying titles on all these. Sometimes I forget to say the title. Yeah, also on Drakkar Productions. White J-card instead of black this time. It's been a while since I've played these, to be honest. I can't really remember which one sounds like which. They kind of blur together in my mind because it's been so long since I've heard them. So, yeah, they were a band that had some hype, 10 years ago or so, and I never hear anyone talk about them again. Another band that I always kind of likened them to a little bit is Cobalt. And we got some Spanish pagan black metal, which I really like some of the bands that this dude has been in. So, we're talking about the debut demo from 2004. This band formed in 2002. Talking about Carcharoth with My Father Was a Wolf. So one of the guys in this band was also in Uruk Hai and also Nazgul, which were two Spanish black metal bands I just really, really liked. They were like just kind of raw, traditional second wave sounding black metal. There were a handful of bands from Spain in the earlier 2000s playing that sound. It was no frills, but I just thought they did it really, really well. So this is kind of along the lines of that, a little bit more pagan sounding. This came out on Battle Hymns. Pagan black metal, like I said, so songs about nature and wolves and winter and fog and shit like that. All right, now the last three albums are going to be from the same band, a band that I actually like quite a bit, and I wish I had more material from. We're talking about, from France, talking about Celestia. Now, Celestia were a band that formed in '95 by a guy named Noctu. I always thought Celestia were kind of like a continuation of the LLN sound. Not that they sounded that much like any of the LLN bands, maybe Belcatre a little bit, but the Celestia were kind of doing their own thing. But they were kind of helping to forge that early 2000s French black metal, kind of like the raw black metal, but with a good dose of melody and then that kind of medieval sound that for some reason only bands out of France at the time could produce, and I really, really, really liked it. So the first thing I have from them is a demo from 2001. This was limited to 1,000 copies. This came out on Drakkar Productions. We're talking about Dead Insect Sequestria. Not my favorite stuff from Celestia, but I still like it. I like everything I've heard from them. I feel like Celestia always kind of had like a firm dose of romanticism in their music. Then I have a 2007 single limited to 500 copies on Apotheosia recordings. I don't know if I can pronounce this, but yeah, you might have to look this one up. I'm not going to be able to pronounce it. But it's a single from 2007. Should I attempt to pronounce it? I don't know, Del His Cates, just to give you some sort of an idea. Around this time, I think he was just a session member, but Malefic from Zastor would actually join the band. Like I said, I don't know if he was technically in the band. I always thought he was a session member, but he is listed as the lineup here. And that's Malefic right there. I gotta say, I do like Zastor, and I think in my opinion, I think he contributed to this band really, really nice. From what I remember, he just contributes keyboards, but he just gave the band a nice, icy, creepy, sound that I don't think they had before. So I think he was a really, really nice addition. The last thing I have from them, which is my favorite Celestia album, their second full length from 2008, limited to 500 copies, Apotheosia recordings. We're talking about Frigidis, Apotheosis, Abstinencia, Genesis. I think I did an okay job at pronouncing that. I love this album. This is probably one of my favorite black metal albums, just in general. It was the first thing I ever heard from them, and I've yet to hear anything from them that I liked nearly as much as this. So Malefic from Zastor is still in the band at this point, and like I said, his keyboard contributions are great. I think he just gives it a nice, icy, almost like just creepy haunted house, ghost movie type atmosphere. I think if he stayed in the band, I think they'd be better for it. Despite being a big Celestia fan, they have quite a lot of material. I've probably heard less than half of it, but like I said, I have never heard anything that I liked as much as this album here. In fact, again, this is probably one of my favorite black metal albums of all time. I think it's just fantastic. So if you're a fan of French black metal, if you're a fan of that 90s LLN stuff, definitely look into Celestia. I know they're not unknown by any means. I think they're a pretty well known band in the world of black metal. But if you haven't heard them, again, definitely check them out. I think you might really like some of their music. So, anyways, that was 10 tapes. I got a couple of videos I'm going to record this week, and as always, thanks for stopping by. Louis says hello. He's taking a nap down there, but we will talk soon. Cheers.